Hello, welcome to the video, and today we're going to be discussing about my thoughts on the USMNT U19 roster for the Slovenia Nations Cup. Alright, so let's begin. So obviously the Slovenia Nations Cup already began yesterday, and the USMNT absolutely destroyed it and mauled Malta 5-0 yesterday. So that was a pretty good result from our U19. So yeah, let's go over a quick description of the Slovenia Nations Cup. It's the USMNT U19 will play against European opposition. Obviously, the European opposition will be U19 as well, I imagine. USMNT will play against 3 European sides, including Malta, Croatia, and Scotland. The USMNT already played against Malta, and they destroyed them 5-0. Croatia and Scotland, I do believe they'll bring up more of a test for this young national team. USMNT will only bring. Oh my gosh, I had a big ass typo over here. They'll bring 20 players. So I counted them all, and it was 20 players, not 3 players. So that was a quick typo by me. Wrong of me to do. So yeah, obviously we're not only gonna. If we only brought 3 players, bro, we will get destroyed. So obviously, I imagine Malta will still have problems defeating us, but still, let's go over the roster real quick. So goalkeepers, obviously in goal, we'll be starting off with Antonio Carrera from FC Dallas. Antonio Carrera is obviously going to be part of this roster. Alex Bordeaux and who's the other guy? Wait, I forgot about the other guy. Wait, oh, Chris Brady. Chris Brady and Alex Bordeaux are with the U20s right now in the Revelations Cup. So this leaves Antonio Carrera with the U19s. Antonio Carrera obviously will be the starter for this tournament. I haven't heard much from Emmanuel Ochoa. Obviously, Antonio, we have seen one match of Antonio Carrera in the national teams as of right what I remember. That was against who was it against? Saint Kitts and Nevis, I imagine. Yes, it was against Saint Kitts and Nevis. I imagine we destroyed Saint Kitts and Nevis like 10-0. I wouldn't be surprised. We absolutely destroyed that. If we absolutely destroyed that team, I remember. And obviously Antonio Carrera, that was the first and only match he started for us during that tournament. Because obviously Chris Brady will be the starter for the rest of the tournament. So a good showing in this tournament will probably have a good case for Antonio Carrera to make it for the U20 World Cup. And that's what I imagine. So yeah. Now let's go to the defenders, which will be a pretty good good group of defenders over here. We have Noah Allen from Inter Miami, which is a pretty good left back. Caleb Wiley and Jonathan Gomez are quite levels above Noah Allen, in my opinion. I'm going to be respectful here with Noah Allen, but obviously Caleb Wiley and Jonathan Gomez are in a much higher level than he is. Caleb Wiley is starting for Atlanta United, and Jonathan Gomez is in Europe right now with Real Sociedad B. So obviously both of them will have quite a few levels above Noah Allen. But obviously Noah Allen is still a decent prospect for me, in my opinion. But obviously he's not quite on the level as those two. Joshua Winder obviously will be as one of our center backs alongside Kobe Henry. I imagine both of those two will be our starting center backs. Joshua Winder is probably the best young player in USL right now, in my opinion. Joshua Winder is obviously he's undisputedly he is the best young defender in the USL, in my opinion. Kobe Henry, obviously he has been starting some matches for Reims B. Obviously not for the main team, but for Reims B. Obviously he has started some matches. We do not know much about him, but obviously we know he has played some matches for their B team. Reed Baker Whiting for Seattle Sounders. Obviously for next season, I'm expecting him to be a starter. To get a lot more minutes than what he does right now for next season. Obviously, with guys that probably will be leaving pretty soon for Europe. Obviously, I imagine, or with Seattle Sounders just getting a whole bunch of injuries. Obviously, Seattle Sounders might consider putting Reedy Baker Whiting on the pitch and actually play him. And then there's obviously Alex Freeman from Orlando City. He scored a goal against Malta. Thomas Williams from Orlando City. And I had another typo over here. I forgot the other end of the parentheses. And Nolan Norris. I do not know much about Alex Freeman, Thomas Williams, and Nolan Norris. I do not know much about them. but we should watch out for them in case if they have a pretty good tournament. This is a pretty good group of defenders considering that is that it's U19s, but obviously we do not know how variable these defenders end up. For me, the guys with the highest ceiling are obviously Reed Baker Whiting, Kobe Henry, and Josh Winder. So yeah. Um, Now let's start with the midfielders. The midfielders obviously is a pretty good group of midfielders over here. We do not know much about these guys, and some of these guys I really do not even know how to pronounce their names. So the two guys I'm really familiar with is with Owen Wolf and with Zach Booth. Zach Booth is the brother of Taylor Booth, who plays in FC Utrecht with who, with FC Utrecht in the Eredivisie. Obviously, Taylor Booth started off the season as a starter, but then, yeah, we all know what happened later. Taylor Booth has right now been benched, but obviously I'm expecting Taylor Booth to get some more minutes as the season progresses. Obviously, that was quite a big step for Zach Booth's brother, but obviously he will bounce back. I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure. I hope so, because we obviously Taylor Booth is a guy who can contribute right now. Brian Moyato, I'm not really sure about him. For Brian Moyato, obviously, I really don't know much about him. He's in the LAFC academy, but in LAFC's academy are pretty good. So I imagine he's pretty good. I imagine. Uh, he was an MLS Next All Star, I believe. I think. Let me check. Yeah, Brian Moyato was an MLS Next All Star, so I imagine he will be pretty good during this tournament, and he might get some good amount of minutes, I suppose. Uh, Emi Ochoa, Emi Ochoa, wait, Emi Ochoa from the San Jose Earthquakes was as well an MLS Next All Star, so obviously yeah, there's that as well. Brian Moyato is international, so that's pretty interesting over here. Uh, However, playing in MLS Next, and considering that some of these guys have been playing a good amount of minutes at senior level. Well, not most of them, but on Wolf obviously he has. So obviously I know more about him. Who do I know about? No, really not much about it. Oh, Brian. Benjamin Kramaski was as well in MLS Next All Star as well. He was in MLS Next All Star as well. And wait. Let me see over here because wait. I think they listed him wrong. I think they did list him wrong. Or I listed him wrong. Oh, so I made another mistake over here. Kramaski is from the Inter Miami. So I made yet another mistake over here. So obviously so Kramaski is from the Inter Miami Academy, and he was in MLS Next All Star as well. So I imagine that him, Zach Booth, Owen Wolf, and Brian Moyato will be our best, and as well Marcel Russell, who is from Torino as well. I really do not know much about him as well, but I imagine. Let's see. Marcel Rosso. He plays for Torino. He does play with Torino, but I really do not know much about him as well. He was he was with FC Cincinnati, so that's pretty interesting over here. But he moved to Europe, so obviously I imagine he has some quality as well, considering that he went to a club over there. Um, so there's Sergio Orejel Jr. I do not know much about him. Jack Panayoto, who plays with Georgetown and NCAA, who's a D1 athlete. Obviously, with D1 athletes, obviously D1 soccer athletes are being D1 athletes pretty good, but obviously but obviously considering that you're going to be playing your first pro minutes as a pro soccer player at age who knows when, obviously, that's pretty bad. Uh, Esmir Bashaktarevic, Esmir Basharak, Esmir Bashaktarevic, uh, Esmir B. Let's call him Esmir B for New England Revolution. He played 3 matches for the New England Revolution senior team as a 17-year-old. So obviously he has quite a long way to go. But I imagine next season, I imagine he will get a lot more minutes, and obviously I imagine next year he will get lots of more opportunities if he can impress in this tournament. So yeah, obviously this is a pretty promising group of midfielders. Some new faces and some people I do not really know. So I hope some of these guys are good. So yeah, I really do not know much about these guys. Forwards: Rodrigo Neri from Atletico de Madrid. Rodrigo Neri, we all know about him. Rodrigo Neri he's in the reserves for Atletico de Madrid, and he's really good. Yeah, that's what I've seen. Fabian Loyola, another guy who's pretty good at soccer. He was an MLS next All-Star as well, and he scored in the match against Malta. Oh, and I forgot to mention, Rodrigo Neri's goal against Malta was absolutely beautiful. That thing was beautiful. He curled that bitch pretty good. It just looks sexy just to watch that spit of the ball. It just like, wow, that was a pretty good goal. That was a pretty good goal. I just have to give him his props for that. The guy really, had to like he just wanted to launch that sucker in the goal. You can just see you could have just seen. I was like it was so beautiful. Oh my god. But obviously, I'm not gonna be massaging Rodrigo Neri's ego if he's watching this video. All I have to say is that I want to see that more from him, and obviously, if he ends up playing in the U20 World Cup, I hope to see that from him as well over there in that tournament because oh my gosh, that thing was really beautiful. But still, then there's other guys as well. For Marco Zambrano Salgado, I really do not know much about him as well. But he's from Philly, so obviously, let's hope he's good. What we've seen about Philly's academy recently and the youth national teams is that they're pretty good, the Philly players. So obviously, yeah, I'm hoping that 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 Marco Zambrano Delgado can produce something over here. He can produce something special in this tournament. Uh, mm. Then we have another interesting pick over here. Olu Oluko. Let me try to pronounce this. Oluwa Oluwakorede Osudina. So mind the name pronunciation over here, which is pretty rude of me to do. But obviously, he looks like another player that looks pretty interesting in my opinion. I really do not know much about him as well. Oh, Korede Osudina. Okay. So he's a striker. He's a center forward, and he's 18 years old, and I think he has not played his first match for. He has not played his first match in USL yet. He was with the he was with the Barcelona Academy. That's pretty interesting. Oh, so he has played in the USL. He has 1 assist in 16 appearances. That's what I'm saying. He played 2 matches in the Open Cup. So he has played it, but I think he has mostly played as a sub. So guys that I think we're going to be missing in this tournament a lot is probably going to be Christian Fletcher. Obviously, Christian Fletcher has been playing really good for London United, and obviously Christian Fletcher, I imagine he'll be a pretty good. We will see him with Dortmund real soon. He's going to be with America's team real soon, joining the likes of Christian Pulisic and Gio Reyna and Leonardo Maloney as well as American players that played over there. So obviously, yeah, that's going to be pretty interesting. Obviously, there's going to be other guys that we're probably going to be missing as well that I probably did not mention. Uh, but obviously, most of our guys that are not in this squad, they're with the U20s right now in the Revelations Cup. So obviously, yeah, there's that as well. Now let's discuss about my expectations. So my expectations is that the USMNT finishes first or second behind Croatia. So we should finish first or we should finish second behind Croatia. Top goal scorer for the USMT U19s will be Rodrigo Neri, in my opinion, because what I've seen from him is that he's a pretty good guy. He's a pretty good damn finisher. Well, that's what I've seen. Best player for the U19s in this tournament, in my opinion, will be On Wolf or Fabian Loyola. Both of them are pretty good in the attack and they're pretty fucking dangerous. And the best defender, in my eyes, will be Josh Winder. Kobe Henry is really good, but I think Josh Winder is going to be having a better tournament because what I've seen about Josh Winder is that he is something really special. So our guys that we should really be watching out for during the tournament is obviously going to be Antonio Carrera. Obviously, there's going to be Reed Baker Whiting, Josh Winder, uh, Kobe Henry, Owen Wolf. Who should we be watching out for? Zach Booth, obviously, Rodrigo Neri, and Fabian Loyola. And there's some other guys over here and there as well that we should probably have a lookout on in the next cycle for the U20s. I remember that the U20s is a 2-year cycle, so obviously most of these guys are eligible as well for the U20 World Cup. So yeah, there's that. So now let's finish off this video with thank you guys for watching. We'll see you guys in the next video. Adios, bye bye. We'll see you guys in the next video. Goodbye.